Rotor design, the first topic we are going to take is the length of air gap, LG. And the first theory is the factors to be considered for estimation of length of the air gap. So there are total 6 points that we need to consider for a selection of a length of the air gap. These are power factor, overload capacity, pulsation loss, unbalanced magnetic pull, cooling and noise. Accordingly we need to select the length of the air gap. So how to calculate length of the air gap, that we will see later on. But if we keep the length of the air gap lesser or higher, then what will happen in these 6 parameters, that we need to understand. So in this theory that thing is explained, that if length of air gap is high or length of air gap is low, then what will happen to power factor, to what will happen to overload capacity, what will be the pulsation losses, what will happen as a unbalanced magnetic pull, how cooling we can provide, and how the noise will be produced if length of the air gap is high or less. So one by one we are going to see all the points. Let us go to the first point, that is the power factor. Okay, so for the power factor we can understand this thing by using one vector diagram. So let us draw the vector diagram. Okay, the first point is the power factor. Now vector diagram, when length of the air gap is lesser and when length of the air gap is higher. So for the induction motor, the vector diagram will look like this. Let us say this is the flux axis, phi m, and the magnetizing current is going to be in the same phase with the phi m. We can draw the voltage vectors like this, where we have the rotor EMF ER over here, and we have stator or supply EMF over here, and magnetizing current will be in the same phase with phi m. So let us say this is the vector diagram for lesser value of the length of the air gap. Okay, let us indicate it, lesser air gap. Okay, so if length of the air gap is less, obviously the magnetizing current is going to be less, because the thing is that the MMF required to send the flux through the air gap is directly proportional to the product of flux density and length of the air gap. And even for smaller flux density, the MMF required for air gap is much higher than that for the rest of the magnetic circuit or the iron parts actually, because the reluctance path is high in length of the air gap. Okay, so if the length of the air gap is actually it is the primary thing which determines the magnetizing current drawn by the machine. Okay, so lesser the air gap, lesser is going to be the magnetizing current. Okay, so let us say magnetizing current is over here. Okay, this is the vector of magnetizing current I mu. We will take I mu as a less, because length of air gap is lesser. Okay, and we have to draw the no load current, so we need to indicate the working component as well. Let us say this is the working component IW, which is in the same phase with the supply EMF, and the combination of IW and I mu, the summation of this vector will give me no load current. So like this I will have no load current I0. Okay, still this is not the stator current, so we need to introduce the current of rotor referred to the stator, just like we do in the transformer, the secondary current referred to the primary. Okay, so similar vector diagram we can indicate the value of rotor current referred to the stator, that will look like this. Okay, let us say it is IR1. The actual current will be in this phase. The rotor current referred to rotor, and 180 degree out of phase we will have, let us indicate it as IR1. Rotor current referred to 1 means stator. Okay, and the combination of I0 and or I0 and IR1 will give me the stator current. Okay, so let us combine this and these two vector. So it will be like this. Okay, I0 similar vector like this, and IR1 similar vector like this. Okay, and this is going to be the stator current IS. Okay, and the angle between IS and VS, okay, that is going to be phi, and from which we can find out the power factor. Okay, so this is my angle phi. Okay, for lesser air gap, and cos phi is going to be the power factor. Okay, and let us draw the same vector diagram for higher length of the air gap. Okay, now for higher length of the air gap, the same thing we are going to do. Okay, let us draw the flux vector, and same way we have the EMFs for stator and rotor. Now the difference will be that I mu is lesser over here, but I mu is going to be higher over here because the length of the air gap is higher. So I mu will somewhere over here. Let us make it a higher value of I mu. IW is going to be the same. Okay, let us say this is the IW. I mu IW, the total or the vector sum will give me I naught. Let us say IR1 is same. Okay, similar vector IR1. Okay, now if you observe these two vectors, okay, I naught is going to be like this. Okay, and IR1 vector like this. So this vector is this, I naught is this, and summation of both will be IS, and the angle is going to be phi. Okay, now if you compare these two vectors, okay, it is clearly seen that the angle phi is bigger. Okay, the angle phi is higher. Okay, so now these two figures shows the phasor diagram of an induction motor with two different length of the air gap. The magnetizing current with higher air gap is greater than that with the lesser air gap. So the phase angle between the stator applied voltage and stator current is greater in case 2, or we can say that phi is larger, hence we can say that cos phi is smaller. Okay, or if phi is bigger, cos phi is smaller. Okay, so this is the case with lesser and higher length of the air gap. Okay, so that was the first point. Let us go to the second point. Second point is the overload capacity. Okay, so second point, it is the overload capacity. So the overload capacity is of the induction motor is defined as the ratio of maximum output to rated output, or simply we can say that the maximum output your induction motor is capable of giving, okay, compared to its rated output. Okay, so this point also we can understand from the circle diagram actually. Okay, so circle diagram we can draw for two various things. Okay, the leakage reactance XL, okay, the thing that we have already seen. Okay, so what will happen if we keep high leakage reactance and a small leakage reactance? Okay, and how air gap is related to leakage reactance, that also we are going to see. Okay, so roughly I can draw the circle diagram like this. Okay, okay, let us say this is the vector diagram for a high value of leakage reactance XL. Okay, then the no load current we have. Okay, then this diameter we do have, and we have a semicircle like this. We have a center. Okay, we have roughly some output line like this. Okay, and the locus of the current is this. Okay, anywhere I can have the value of the current. Okay, and I can find out the output. Okay, let us say any point, this point, let us say if I want to find out the output, then this distance and this distance, okay, I can convert this centimeter into the power scale, and I can get the value of the output. Okay, and let us say rated current is somewhere over here, then this can be my rated output. Okay, rated output, and the maximum output I can say when from the center I drop the line, okay, and drop out over here, then this distance becomes the maximum output. Okay, and actually this diameter of circle diagram that we always talk about, okay, it is directly proportional to supply EMF divided by XL. Okay, that is why we say that when we have high value of XL, okay, then we have the lesser diameter. Okay, the entire diameter is proportional to supply EMF divided by XL. So higher the XL, less will be the diameter. Okay, and the same diagram I can draw for a smaller value of the XL. Okay, so if XL is smaller, we know that this ratio is going to be higher, or the diameter of circle diagram is going to be higher, or I can say that this circle is going to be bigger. Okay, even I can draw circle diagram on the same graph. Okay, but let us draw it once again, indicating that the value of XL is smaller. Okay, so that ratio Vs upon XL or diameter becomes bigger. Okay, so in that case the circle diagram will look like this. The diameter will become bigger. Okay, circle will also become bigger. Okay, so I can have the output line, the center point, okay, the perpendicular, and the maximum output. Okay, so it is obvious that if diameter becomes bigger, then this distance also becomes bigger, which is the maximum output that your motor is capable of giving. Okay, so yes, this is the Vs upon XL again, the diameter of circle diagram. So figure shows the circle diagram for induction motor with two different leakage reactance. The diameter of a circle is Vs upon XL, where XL is the leakage reactance of the motor. So thus the smaller XL, greater will be the diameter of a circle. Okay, and the overall overload capacity is also higher for a smaller value of XL. The length of the air gap affects the value of a zigzag leakage reactance, which forms a large part of the total reactance. Okay, now what is this zigzag leakage reactance? Okay, it is the new term for you. Zigzag leakage reactance XL. So actually our total XL, total leakage reactance, okay, it has one small part as a zigzag leakage reactance. Of course the total XL is bigger, but one part is a zigzag leakage reactance. Okay, so if the length of air gap is large, this leakage reactance or the zigzag leakage flux is reduced, resulting in a lower value of a total XL. Okay, with a decrease in XL, and the diameter of circle diagram will bigger, it will increase, and hence the overload capacity increases. So the greater is the length of the air gap, greater is the overload capacity. Okay, so zigzag leakage reactance with air gap, how they are related. Okay, so let us say this is the stator surface, okay, and this is the rotor surface. If length of the air gap is smaller, okay, then what will happen to the flux? The average flux I am talking about. So this average flux, okay, it is going to pulsate like this. Okay, actually the third point is also related to this thing, the pulsation. Okay, this is the average flux will pulsate like this. Okay, but if length of air gap is bigger, okay, then flux will not have tendency to go in the stator or rotor, the average value. Okay, but the average value will not pulsate much, and smoothly it will look like the straight line. Okay, actually we have not considered stator slot and rotor slot yet. It is just about the length of the air gap, LG. okay, the length of the air gap between stator surface and rotor surface. If it is smaller, okay, then it will have more option to go to the stator or rotor, okay, so that is why it happens, okay. But when length of air gap is bigger, flux does not have much options to go, so that is why straight away it will flow in certain direction depending on the phase sequence, okay. So it will tend to remain uniform, okay, so it will not pulsate more, okay. The flux pulsation will not be more when length of the air gap is high, okay. So third point is also related to this diagram, okay, that is pulsation loss. Okay, so with larger length of the air gap, the variation of the reluctance due to the slotting is small, and the tooth pulsation loss which is produced due to this variation in the reluctance of the air gap is also reduced, okay. That you can see in this figure, okay, with higher length of the air gap, okay. So the pulsation loss is also less with a larger length of the air gap. So both the pulsation loss and overload capacity, okay, both are in favor of a higher length of the air gap, okay. Let us go to the fourth point, that is the unbalanced magnetic pull. So again, this is new term for you, what is unbalanced magnetic pull, okay. So let us see the cross sectional view of the stator and the rotor, okay. Let us say this is the cross sectional side view of the stator. I have stator winding over here, okay, separated by air gap. I will have a rotor like this. Let us say this is the rotor, and over here I will have a shaft, okay. This is rotor, this is stator, and this is the shaft. So what happens if there is any small disturbance in the air gap over here or over here, then automatically this stator will start to attract this portion of the rotor. Let us say length of the air gap is such that this bottom portion of the rotor becomes a little bit near to this bottom part of the stator. So what the stator conductor will do, they will tend to attract these conductors of the rotor, okay, and ultimately at the end what will happen, this shaft will tend to bend like this, okay. It will not look straight, okay. If I draw the figure with unbalanced magnetic pull, let us say length of the air gap was lesser over here compared to upper part, okay, then how this shaft will bend, okay. This shaft will look like this, okay. It will bend like this, okay. Actually this bending is more, okay, that I have shown in the figure, okay. Actually it is very less that we cannot see, okay, inside the motor, okay, because it is of order of mm, okay. But just for your understanding, I am drawing this much bigger bending, okay. But this thing will happen because this attraction, okay. So that phenomena is called unbalanced magnetic pull. Whenever there is unbalanced air gap, okay, a magnetic force will be there, okay, magnetic pull will be there on this shaft, okay. So the length of the air gap is small. Even in a small deflection of this shaft would produce a large irregularity in the length of the air gap. So anyhow, even before manufacturing, if any small deflection in the shaft is there, even that can also cause this thing later on, okay, because of this continuous magnetic attraction, okay. So irregularity in the length of the air gap, okay, is not expected, okay. So that is the thing. So if length of the air gap of a machine is larger, okay, the small deflection will not create strong magnetic attraction force, okay. If this length of air gap is smaller, then this attraction force will be bigger, okay, and the bending of the shaft will happen very soon, okay. But if length of air gap is larger, okay, then this stator attraction force on this rotor will not be that much big, which will bend this shaft and create the unbalanced magnetic pull, okay. So this fourth point also favors that the length of the air gap should be bigger if you do not want unbalanced magnetic pull, okay. The fifth point, it is cooling. Okay, so if the length of the air gap is larger, then the cylindrical surface of the stator and rotor are separated by larger distance. Okay, and these would offer better facilities for the cooling at the gap surfaces, especially when the fan is fitted for the circulation of the air. Okay, so of course cooling will be better if length of air gap is bigger. So again, fifth point also favors that length of the air gap should be higher. Okay, sixth point, it is the noise. Okay, so the principal cause of a noise in an induction motor is the variation of the reluctance path. Okay, variation of the reluctance path means the same thing that I have discussed. Okay, the average flux, okay, pulsates because of the reluctance is not constant. Okay, so because of this kind of a reluctance path, the zigzag leakage flux is there. Okay, and to ensure that the noise produced will not be objectionable, it is necessary to make this zigzag leakage reactance as small as possible. So if we want this leakage reactance smaller, okay, as discussed in this point, the length of the air gap should be bigger. Okay, if you keep length of the air gap bigger, the pulsation will not be there. Okay, or we can keep these zigzag leakage reactance under certain value and it will not create much noise. Okay, so again the sixth point also favors that the length of the air gap should be bigger. Okay, so thus the less length of the air gap will give good power factor and less magnetizing current, while higher length of the air gap gives the higher overload capacity, better cooling, reduced noise and reduction in unbalanced magnetic pole. Okay, so these are the 6 points. Okay, now the next thing is calculation of LG. So for calculation of a length of the air gap, we have some equations, okay, some empirical equations. Empirical equations means after lot of experimentation, these equations has been derived, okay, and we can calculate length of the air gap from these equations. Okay, so the first equation of length of the air gap, there are multiple equations, and which equation we need to consider, that also we will discuss. Okay, so the first equation of length of the air gap is Lg is equal to 0.2 plus 2 times under root D and L. D and L is nothing but the main dimension of the machine. You already know how to calculate D and L. Okay, why in this equation D and L, they are in a meter. We don't have to convert it into mm. Okay, this will be in a meter. Okay, and under root we are going to take, and whatever numerical value is there, that will be the length of the air gap in mm. Okay, we don't have to convert this into D and this D and L into the mm. Okay, so this equation has been experimented, that take the value of D and L in a meter, put those value over here, and whatever value you are getting, okay, that much mm is your length of the air gap. Okay, you don't have to confuse that this is in a meter, so how do we take it in a mm? Okay, because if you keep it in a meter, then length of the air gap will going to be very high. Okay, and after that we need to convert it into mm itself. Okay, so we don't want to get into that complex thing. Okay, so simply take D and L in a meter, and whatever numerical value is there, convert it into mm. Okay, when machine is smaller, okay, for smaller machine we are using another equation, that Lg is equal to 0.125 plus 0.35 times D, that is diameter, plus L, that is the length, plus 0.015 times VA, where VA is peripheral speed. Okay, so for smaller machine, length of the air gap equation is this, that depends on three things: the diameter, length, and peripheral speed. Okay, peripheral speed equation also you know, that is Va is equal to pi into d into ns, where d is the diameter and ns is the synchronous speed in rps. Okay, and the unit of Va will be in a meter per second. Okay, in this equation also you have to take d in a meter, L in a meter, and Va in a meter per second, and whatever numerical value is you are getting, okay, you will take it in as mm, and that is going to be your Lg. Okay, one more equation is there. Third equation of Lg is a very simple equation, 0.2 plus d. Okay, the simplest equation. Okay, 0.2 plus d whatever you have calculated. Okay, take it in a meter, and whatever numerical value you are getting, that much mm is your length of the air gap. Okay, and last equation is Lg is equal to 1.6 under root d, the diameter, minus 0.25. Again the simple equation, 1.6 under root d, d is in a meter, minus 0.25, whatever value you are getting, okay, that much mm is your length of the air gap. Okay, so we have calculated d and L and peripheral speed in some numericals. If you want to calculate length of the air gap, okay, then how to calculate? So after having d, L and peripheral speed, okay, you can have 4 different values of length of the air gap. Okay, you can have 4 different value of length of the air gap. Now the question is, out of these 4, which value you should consider as your answer? Okay, if I ask you to calculate length of the air gap in any example, okay, simply you will have 4 different value of length of the air gap, but out of these 4, which one is correct? Okay, because these 4 value will not be similar, they will vary. Okay, so out of these 4, one value will be lesser and one value will be higher. Okay, so which value you should consider? Okay, so for that you need to consider these 6 parameters again. Okay, if it is asked that calculate length of the air gap for the good power factor, it means you will have to take the least value out of that 4. Okay, same way if I ask to calculate for the less pulsation loss, suppose, okay, so in that case you know that length of the air gap should be higher, so out of these 4, highest value of length of air gap you should consider. Okay, same way for for example I ask for better cooling, okay, or less noise, so then these 2 point also favors that length of the air gap should be larger. Okay, so after calculation of length of the air gap from all 4 equations, okay, you need to consider the highest value or lowest value depending on the example. So in the example it will be indicated that for which purpose you have to calculate the length of the air gap, okay, or which point out of these 6 is your priority. Okay, so any one of the point or 2 of these 6 point will be mentioned in the example, and depending on that you need to take the values, okay, which has been calculated by you out of these 4.